What's up, guys? It's Flash with tradingwithflash.com. Welcome back to another episode of the Sit Down with Flash. In today's episode, it is Roscoe from LWT Trades, so stay tuned. Making $100,000. Characters I met along the way that stepped in and are a big part of my story. There, so stay tuned. What's up, guys? So we are starting a new series on YouTube. We are interviewing top stock YouTubers. Today we have Roscoe from LWT Trades. Roscoe, how are you?
I'm very good, mate. How are you?
Good, good. All doing well. So I suppose, kick us off. Tell us where you got the name LWT.
Well, we got it from Liquor with Ticker. And we're a group of traders who, I'd say we don't call ourselves gurus. We're very far from it. I'm not going to sit here and tell you, there's a trade. So, and then it ended up just being drinking sessions with friends, just watching stocks, talking stocks, and having a beer.
Nice.
And that's how it started. And we were looking at names and what we found is actually it was more like 30-40% trading and 60% just talking trades and having a bit of fun, to be honest. And you get a lot of new people. I think we've had people from Sykes, Cameron, all the other gurus, furus, whatever you want to call them, and it sort of worked well that we have this question time where we're in Europe here, so we crack the beers open and it's bit easier to talk to people. We're not going to abuse someone like Kimmy Dykes does and just fucking give him shit, basically. So that's where the name came from. And then Liquor with Ticker was just it rhymed. I mean, it doesn't make sense, to be honest, but yeah. And then we thought Liquor with Ticker was too direct, so yeah, LWT Trading sounded a little bit more professional.
Nice, and I like your logo as well. When you actually realise what it means, you can see the little wine bottle in it.
Yeah. So. Everyone does that. But yeah, it's it was quite a cool logo, actually. A friend of mine did it, so yeah, it was originally just 4 bars going up, but then he added in the bottle, and I was just like, okay, you're trying to get his Christmas tip, so.
Okay, I like it. So Roscoe, tell us, what did you do before trading?
Well, I still do it. So I own 4 businesses, actually. Going back millennials, I started off in the military, and I was working for the UK government, helping, doing various jobs. But when I left that, I got into wealth management. There is a connection. I just can't really talk about it. But I got into wealth management. I then moved to Moscow, and then to Budapest, and then I'm now based all around Europe. And so I've always been around finance and stuff, but to be honest, with high net worth clients, penny stocks, low cap stocks are not really the type of thing you want to put people's pensions in. And then about 3 years ago, I came across Tim Sykes. I think a lot of people come across him first or one of the others. And I remember seeing the video thinking this guy's full of shit. And then I seen him on one of the news articles about a year later. So this is about 2 years ago. And I thought, I did a bit more research, and I was coming to the time where my job's sort of not managing itself, but I've got a lot of spare time. Specifically at when the US market opens from 3:30 till 10 p.m. And my businesses are going well. So I thought, I want to do something a bit constructive. So I give it a go. And I'd say from around about October last year, I'd say I was full time. Yeah.
Nice. Okay, and you obviously like the transition forward into it.
Yeah, for me, it's one of these things. I need to be doing something, and I'm not one of these people that can take up a hobby. I mean, I love football. You can probably say I'm a Liverpool fan.
I can see it. Yeah, I see it in the back as well.
Yeah, that's my dog's bed, believe it or not.
Oh, nice.
I'm a huge Liverpool fan, but that's one of the few things where I haven't been able to capitalize making money on because I like the Heineken too much. But yeah, I like to do things that are constructive. I've got a security company that teaches anti-terrorism to some of the biggest hotels in Europe. But that's running itself completely now. Again, the wealth management side, and I've got a few other, fingers in pies. So I wanted to do something that was fun for me, but also that it's not costing me money, you know. And in the end, I think with the wealth management background, I've got no problem cutting losses, and I think new people have that big issue. So I
Mm.
found it really, really, interesting that I had that edge over everyone else from day one. And then yeah, I met someone else who's on YouTube. I won't mention him because he's affiliated to someone else. Um, but yeah, and that was it. And then I fell in love. And then we've got a good group of friends. We turn up every day. The beers get opened. We have a bit of fun. We absolutely. There's a guy in our chat room, Jack Eldorado, Jack Christian. He's like a little brother, so I just constantly abuse him in chat room. And yeah, it's fun. Yeah, so.
It's good that you can have that. Although it's serious when the business is there, but have that joke inside too. I think it makes work a bit more manageable, a bit more fun and laid back. So
Yeah.
I like that environment too. I think sometimes it brings the best out in people as well.
No, for sure. I mean, this is one of the things we wanted. I mean, we're never charging crazy money. We have slowly increased our prices. It's currently like $40 a month. The reason for that is we pay money for Zoom. The chat rooms getting built, websites. We do a free webinar every month as well. So it's more just to cover costs, not nothing major. And we want to try and keep it a small niche group, because from 7 o'clock in the morning till about 9 o'clock Eastern time, we allow everyone to be on the mic. So everyone, whether you're completely new to trading or a complete veteran, you can come in, have a chat. If you've got any questions, you can ask one of the people who are not necessarily 5 years in front of you and saying they made millions in a bull market. You can ask someone who's just 2 or 3 steps in front of you, who learned that last week.
Yeah.
And that's one of the key things that we had and it's sort of bred quite a good community, to be honest. And we have people from, I mean, if you go on our website, LWTTrading.com, we've got a map of where our users are from. We've got people, Africa, Australia, we're everywhere. We're like the Black Death. We're spreading around the world. So
Nice. I like it. And you were saying that you do wealth management. Do you manage other people's money and assets?
yeah, I do. Yeah. Not too many people in the penny stock world could reach the criteria, but yeah, that's what predominantly I do for Central Eastern Europeans.
Okay, nice. And how long have you been trading full time? You said over a year.
Yeah, coming up to a year in the next couple of weeks, actually. It was around about my birthday, 14th of October, if anyone wants to send me a gift. But yeah, it was around about that time I started, been here every day. It's quite different for me because I'm still not, I'm never going to be putting on the board 20 grand trades or anything like that, because it's not the way I do it for the love of it, for the fun of it. If it's as mad as it sounds, I class myself as semi-retired, so it's just all fun for me. But yeah, I'd say I've been trading full time at the market every single day since about October 15th, 16th. And I started, learning and taking it more seriously about August last year, 2017.
Okay. And how long did it take you before you become profitable? The only reason why I asked you this is because with myself, it took six months easy before I became profitable. So it was a long journey for me. It wasn't easy whatsoever. And a lot of people ask me that when I do a lot of coaching and mentoring calls with people. They're saying, well, how quick will I become profitable? It's the most difficult question to answer, I believe.
It is,
because you just don't know, and each person's different.
Yeah.
So when I started, there was people in the chat that were profitable straight away. But with me, it was a lot slower. It took me a longer time, and I suppose I went into it full time straight away.
Yeah.
Which I wouldn't recommend. I had a baby on the way, and I think 10 weeks before the baby was born, I decided to go full time, quit my job, and go into this. So it was a big decision. Yeah, it was a big decision, and then, as they say, pressure makes diamonds. So
I like that.
I just wanted to kind of, because again, to give the audience the kind of how long did it take you to become profitable.
It was quite a weird one for me. Again, I start because pretty much from October we started the chat room. There was 3 of us in there, and then by December there was like 6 of us in there. Like I said, there's a guy on YouTube who's quite well known but not profitable, and he's a good friend of mine, and we started this Discord chat, and you know, he's still on a rocky road, and you know, I learned a lot of his bad mistakes without having to trade. So I see that as a huge edge, and I still think that's one of the things we have is we do still have a lot of traders who are not profitable in the room. Like I'd say 90% of us aren't. And the good thing is you know if you're sat in the background in the shadows, you can just say, why the fuck is that person taking that trade? You know, and literally you're doing this to your face. You put your hands over your eyes, and you know what the fuck's going on. Pardon my French. I don't know if I'm allowed to swear, but you can beep that out.
Work away.
And you know, and it's with that thing. So coming profitable. I think my first green month was December, so 2 months after. And then January, February, and March, I was caning it in the market. I was making 4 or 5 grand every month, and then
Oh, nice.
I took a huge, my biggest to date ever loss. And I'm happy it happened because it was, I was just overconfident. I was short of stock. And, no matter what happens, I'm a day trader. I'm in cash every night. Uh, I always cut a short if it breaks the new highs from the intraday. So, I was short this stock. I had a really good entry, but it blew me out the water. Blew the high of day, blew a whole number above that. And, I'm clicking market cover and it halted. So, I had decent size. I'd still take the trade again. But what I was in chat, and I think this is around April time, and I always remember it because the guys who were in chat say what I did is I just put a market cover order in during the whole left and came back tomorrow to see how much I'd lost, and it did actually come back eventually, and some people say that's a bad thing, and I lost. I'll tell you now, I lost $3,900, right? Which I was still green for the year, all that, but for me it was more about control your position size. There was a lesson there. There was a lesson, and it's that these low cap stocks can blow through these things very quickly. So if you see it working against you, start scaling out before the high of day if you're in big size. So it did teach me a valuable lesson. But believe it or not, that month was still green by $30. So it was and touch word, I've had one red month this year. So there's still time. We're 2 days into the trading session, as it is the 2nd of October, as it currently is, and I'm down like $200 on the month. So, but yeah, and that's for me. What I would say is a little bit of advice to everybody who's starting out or who's learning is don't put a pressure on yourself saying you have to be profitable in a year or 2 years. It's trying to learn something every week, and then if you should be tracking your own data, and at the end of every week write down the most valuable lesson and then read them lessons, because after 6 months you're going to have a decent amount of just one lessons, and if you read them for every single trading day, it will save you fucking fortunes. And then when you're putting in the data for the next day and you've had a bad red day, you'll then go and read the fucking lessons and you'll be like, I broke 3 of them fucking rules. And eventually they'll become implemented into your head. I mean, I've got cards all over literally cards spread all over my desk. I mean, this one's from I think actually March or something like that. And it says just only trade clean setups. Make sure your win rate's over 60%. That's all it says. So it's little things like that will help. But yeah, don't put pressure on yourself. Definitely be careful if you're jumping in full-time trading. You got a baby on the way, in my opinion. But yeah, pressure does build diamonds. I'm a big believer in if your back's against the wall and you can make it happen. But at the same time, I think the world we live in now, I'm quite a positive person, but I think the world we live in now is everyone wants the free ride and they don't want to put the effort in for it. So when people talk about being under pressure and it's going to build diamonds, like you said, I love that phrase, by the way. I've never heard it before. And when someone says that, it's great, but you've got to put the fucking effort in. That's what people don't understand.
You do. Like, it was. I think that was my problem. That's why it took so long. It was every day I'd wake up and I'd say I have to make this much, and I wasn't. I was losing and losing and losing. And I think that was the problem. I wasn't going in just to say I'm going to learn and grow. It was like I need to make money, and that's where I was losing, and that's what went wrong. So that's a really good piece of advice, that it's just go in, don't force it to make money. Just try learn these setups and patterns and grow. I think that way. I think it's because the hardest part is the mental battle, for sure.
I mean, another thing that we get asked a lot on our YouTube and Twitter, and even in the chat room recently is, how much do I start with trading? And you know, it depends
Yeah,
on
that's
what
a
your
common one.
it depends on what your broker will allow. And you know, here's a bit of advice that I say to new people, and I never did this to be clear, but it has worked for a few people. Is, you know, if you can open a trade zero, it's like $500 a month, or I don't know how much. Like, find the cheapest broker, right? Because you're gonna lose. I mean, you've got to
Yeah.
get used to that mindset. You are gonna lose in, you know, your first year. You're not gonna have 12 green months. It's that simple. And hopefully you only
Hmm.
have one red month. So my advice to all the new traders, you know, Anthony in our chat room, I said, like, look, he's Canadian, so you can open a trade here. Put $500 in there, and for 6 months, try and stay afloat. That's it.
Yeah,
Don't add
it
money.
is.
Don't do anything. Take 100 share positions, 50 share positions, and just try and keep that $500. And if you lose that $500 in 6 months, A, it's not going to cost you bank. But B, if you've got at the end of 6 months $300, then you're going to see your win rates gradually getting better, or you should do, because you're surviving. I think a lot of people, you know, they lose 2 grand, they put in another 2 grand. You know, and it's, for me, is if you're starting out, get your win rate up there, track your data. I'm not a fan of paper trading personally, but if that works for you, try it. By all means, try it. I tried it. It wasn't for me, but I did try it before I took trading seriously. But you got to find your own. You know, there's free edges in the market, right? You got to find an edge on the setup, an edge on everyone else, and an edge on yourself. And I think the edge on yourself is the most important, because a lot of traders don't realize this, that their own personal flaws are the ones that are going to cost them the most amount of money. And it's all about emotions. That's it. You got to trade like a robot.
100%. I was actually on a call with a guy yesterday, and the same question: how much do I need?
Yeah.
He has 10,000 there to put into account, and I said, look, if you put 10,000 into account, be prepared to lose it, especially starting off. And I said, you're also not going to appreciate if you have 10,000 in your account. You're going to be saying, oh, I'm only down 100. I have 10 grand. So you're not appreciating every trade. So I said to him, go in with $1,000, a small amount that you will value and appreciate.
I agree.
And then try. The market is about surviving at the start. If you can survive over a long enough period to allow yourself to learn these mistakes, you will be successful in the end. If you go in all guns blazing and blow up your money, your chances are done.
No, I agree, and I think you know, you touched on a good thing. When you put in 10 grand, you don't see it as real money, and it's true. And I mean, you know, just if you're listening to this, ask yourself, you know, maybe when you're younger, or even today, when you know, you go on Amazon, you type in everything you want, and then you click, you know, you want to buy something, and you know, you don't feel like it's real money because it's coming off your card, right? But when you hand over
Yeah.
physical cash, it feels a lot harder. And it is that, and I think everyone had that, especially when you were younger. I remember, like, you know, going to the ATMs after a night out, thinking, you know, geez, I paid on my card last night, and there's nothing left in my bank. What the hell's going on? And I think it's because you don't see it as real money, and especially with trading, it's twice as bad, because you know, you lose. You know, my advice is, if you're starting out and you lose $100 in a day, just walk away for the day. Like that maybe
Yeah.
don't do it the
No.
next day, because you know, you want to take that 100 back. You want to get great, you know. And the thing is a lot of time from my own data is, I'm down $100 or $200 in a day, and then I end up getting, you know, $10 down, you know, on the next trade, and I'm like, right, okay, I'm so close to green. Let's get green. Let's have a green day. Come on, baby. And then I'm down 400, you know. And it's because that just proves you know, that when I said the third edge against yourself is, you're trying, you know, to beat the market. You can't. You can't
Yeah.
win.
No. I think it's the mental state is key, and that's 95%. I think it is the mental state. Like when I was paper trading, um, some weeks I was making 4 grand paper trading when I started out. But then when you go live, it's not the case. So because when you're paper trading, you don't value it, you're leaving it, and you're sitting in a loss of $1,000, and all of a sudden it's up and you cash out $1,000. But when your money's on the line, it's red, it's emotional. You're covering your losses. You're taking small profits. It's up and down. So that's the big difference with paper trading. I'm a big believer you should do it and learn how the system works. Level 2 is time and sales, and things like that. But if you're making 10 grand in paper trading, don't expect that in real money, because it's, as like you said, the emotions kill everyone.
They do,
And
and you know, and this is why, you know, we're a big advocate of tracking data in our chat room. Personally, it changed. You know, that's when, you know, I started tracking data in December last year, for setups, and then I just seen that, you know, fuck me, there's an edge here. And then I've started tracking it for 4 or 5 patterns. I'll be honest, I have slowed down tracking a lot now, but that's just because other things have took up my time. Um, but the data's still there, it's still working. And what I've realized is when it's not working, I'll just sit back and wait for that play to come back. And we've got a pattern, like we call it the SC pattern, the stack catalyst pattern in the chat room, and it hasn't been working during this Donald Trump fiasco on the market. So we've just stopped using it as much. Just trying it with 100 shares until the win rate comes back. Then I'm also tracking, the edge against myself. So there's 2 completely separate Excels, and we've built a template in the chat room for members. So you can just put in your own Excel. It tells you what pattern you're winning on percentage wise, what time you're losing your trades, just very basic data, what your win to loss ratio is in percentage and in figures terms.
Mm-hmm.
It just gives you a very good thing. You should size up or size down at the end of it. And I think tracking data, finding that edge, man, against yourself is key. I realized very quickly I was using the same Excel that we give in the chat room, that every trade between, well, not every trade, but 90% of them between 11:30 and 1:30. I mean, everyone says don't trade lunch, but when you're new, you're naive, and you're still naive, especially if you're on a red day. It was like 90% of my trades lose then, and then from 4 o'clock, 100% do. So there was an hour there, and I'm like, is it worth that hour? No. Okay, so 11:30, I just closed down. I'm gone. And that's when we open the chat room again for everyone to start asking questions. But that's just for me. There's people in the chat room like Jack, who I mentioned earlier, El Dorado, and he's a swing trader. He fucking nails shit at this time of day.
Yeah.
And this is one of the things that and it's not against, you could argue that I could take Jack's trades, but that's not the case. That's not the point. The point is I know emotionally, on my trades, the way I trade personally is I've got to be green right away. I love inflection points. Like, if this level breaks, I'm in and I'm green right away. Take, my 5-10% profit. I'm back out looking for the next play. 5% a day doubles your account a month. That's it. That's the whole philosophy.
So would you class yourself as a technical trader, breakout patterns and momentum play, or what type of trader would you fall under?
I call myself an inflection point trader. News and stuff's important. Fundamentals and all that stuff's important, but I'd say more technical if I had to come under one. I love stocks that are, if we're talking about low floats, love stocks that are gapping up in the morning. It's your typical gap and crap strategy. I'm sure you've heard of it. If you haven't, check out on YouTube. There's a few videos. We've got some as well, which is one of my plays, a gap and crap. But
so you short into the gap.
Basically, if a stock's gap, biotech, for instance, if it's gapping up 50% pre-market on low volume, and I've got a decent level, like pre-highs to risk off, that's the key point that not many people tell you. And I can risk off that, then I'll start shorting into a little bounce and risk that higher day. And if it breaks higher day, I'll cut and look for another. I always need a risk to risk off. I'm not just gonna.
Yeah, it's important if you're going into short sound to have a resistance there.
So that's one of the patterns. I'd say it's not my favorite. I'd probably take. It's probably about 20% of my trades, maybe even less, to be honest. And then if this is gapping up, and then it opens and it looks like it's just parachuting down, free falling, right? And then it comes back on itself and it puts in an intraday red green, where it comes back over its open price, and the daily candle goes from red to green. Because a lot of people, red to green's arguable. If you go to wealth management, a red green is when the daily candle changes red to green, right? And if you've got a stock gapping up, then typically a red green would also be just if it goes red green from yesterday's price. So there's a few different ones, but if it goes the intraday red green, so it goes back over its open price from the market open, then I'd be jumping in at that open price, depending on other criteria, because they tend to run, because what they've done is they've just trapped a lot of shorts. Do you know what? And I was one of them, if I hadn't have covered already. So that gives me a chance to get in, and these have quite a good success rate, especially on low floats, because they tend to just run. IGC is one recently, if you check it out.
Yeah, I know, it's absolutely crazy.
But there's another criteria put in the chat room. It's got to be over 3 minutes of day trading from 9:30. It's got to be traded a certain amount of volume. It's there's so many criteria we have in our PDF, but you know, and yeah. But what happened is I take that inflection point, I take a third off in the first minute of the push. Like no matter how far it goes, I always take a third off in the first candle that it pushes from. So I'm green right away then, and then my risk just keeps moving up, and I try and
Yeah, it kind of gives you a cushion.
yeah, exactly. You know, and to be honest, that's one of the reasons why my win rate's so good. I think because you know, look, I took IGC. It's now I think it touched 14 yesterday. I took IGC into I think it was the break at 2 a couple of days back for 1,000 shares, and I was out at 221 I think total. And you know, and I was like, well done, Pete. That was a great trade. Jack in the chat room, I think, got it roughly at the same price, and he held it till 6 or something. So there's, you know, it's completely different. So yeah, if I had to say my own, I'd say yeah, I'm an inflection point trader. More.
And what's some of the pros and cons in trading that you've come across?
Do you want to start with the cons? The cons, I'd say, you know, it is time consuming. Tracking data. That's my biggest core. I fucking hate it. I think everyone hates tracking data. But you know, you need to do that shit. It's that simple. You need to do it. Another con is there's a lot of people out there who are full of shit. You know, we've had a lot recently of, you know, guru leaks. If you don't follow them on Twitter, you should. They're brilliant. Some of them's really bad and some of them's really funny, but you know, they're calling people out left, right, and center. And there's no reason to. We've got a video on YouTube calling out Will Karimun because you know he basically paper traded and said he shorted. I can't remember what the stock was. When there was
I seen that, and actually I did a YouTube review on him, and I kind of stated in the review, I don't know whether this is legit or not, but if it is legit, holy shit! Like one trade was nearly 50 grand or something.
I mean, the thing is with like, if you know, we'll use Will as an example because I mean, you know, coming from experience, slander is not slander if it's true, right? Now coming from, let's use Will as an example. Now he's with the same broker as a few people in our chat room.
He's a trade now.
No, he's using TradeNet now. At the time, I can't remember what trade. Who was he with? That wasn't Dastra. I can't remember who he was with. But we had a few people. Madaz, if you follow Madaz on Twitter as well, who's one of the nicest guys in trading. Doesn't charge anything. Doesn't have a chat room. Just pumps out his views on Twitter. He called him out as well, and it turns out anyway in this video where he made 50 grand on AMD, I think it was short. There was no shares. The broker even came out on Twitter and said there was no shares available. We're aware of Will Karimun and we're looking at taking legal action. Then his Twitter started saying, well, I am, you know, a real trader and basically, but thanks for the free publicity. I'm not going to, you know, give out my commission statements or anything because, you know, it's all good publicity. Me, why would I, you know, compliment these people hating on me? So that's the way he took it, which is clearly, you know, if someone calls you a fraud, you prove you're not a fraud. So he went that route, and then remarkably, within a week later, he's at a new broker.
Okay.
But then there's another video where that we put on where there's actual pictures from his YouTube channel where it shows you the route, and the route was like a route that doesn't exist with that broker. Unless you're paper trading, so there's physical evidence that he was paper trading that. Now apparently he's trading CFDs, or if you go to his video where he's introducing that, it's CDFs. He even gets the fucking name wrong, calls it CDF. So he's playing these CFDs. I think it is real, but the broker takes 30% of your commission.
TradeNet does, yeah. So you keep 70% of profits with TradeNet.
Stay away from it.
I actually have an account with TradeNet as well.
Yeah, but I think if you're an American, you're not allowed to trade CFDs, right? I mean, coming back to my wealth management background, so the way it works is when you move your money to TradeNet, as an American, they own your account. So that's the only way you're illegally allowed to trade CFDs as an American, is if someone else owns your account. So if you want to give your money to a broker and give them full rights to that money, go for it.
I didn't know that. Now I didn't know that a lot of Americans in the chat room I use do have it. They have withdrawn from it. I've withdrawn from it.
Yeah.
So in that
Nothing against
sense,
the
it's
broker. Nothing against the broker. I'm just saying if you're an American, like I mean, look, we're European. We have different, jurisdictions. But yeah, the trading CFDs, there is ways around it. But I looked into TradeNet, and that is one of the we get asked it a lot in the chat room as well. But that is one of the things I'd say be careful of. I'm not saying it won't work, but just go in there knowing that they own your account. That's all I'll say.
I didn't know that now, but it's interesting you brought up that Will Karimun guy.
Captain Slugger, as we call him.
It is interesting that because I've seen his YouTube the last while. I've been interested in it, and I was saying, shit, if this is legit, like this kid has serious discipline, and that was one of my things in the review, that to hold a short and you're up 40 grand and not to cover, and he say no, I'm waiting for 50, whatever it was, and I was like, fuck, that's incredible discipline. If you can do that,
yeah, I mean,
it's like,
but if you can do that paper trading, it's easy, right?
paper trading is that's what I'm saying. It's very easy.
I mean, if you go on his YouTube, you can see it. He's gone from 30 grand to 60 grand, I think it was, and 50 grand win, and then the next one was like 3 grand. And with the 3 grand win, he's at the new broker. So that should tell you his position size and reality of things. Now, coming back to it, I have no doubt he's probably an all right trader. But the problem I do have is that fact that we've been speaking to a few people online, and again, read the comments in our Will Karimun video. We've had a few people trying to get, he always says, I'll give you a full refund, blah, blah, blah. So basically everyone who paid 6 grand to him or whatever it was for fees, they all deserve.
Is that how much his course is?
I think so, yeah. I'm sure it was 600 or 5,900 in there. But again, check, the comments are in our YouTube video. So there's a few people there who signed up and said, we want a refund, and he's completely just fucked them off, kicked them out of the chat room. So there's little things like that, which is pure fraud. I mean, at the end of the day, it's pure fraud. Look, if you're, I've got nothing against people who paper trade. Just say you paper trade,
Yeah.
That it's like a video game. I'm completely cool with that. And what the thing is? There's probably a few paper traders out there who can teach still because they have that discipline. But there's another guy recently, a travel trader, Sonny. I don't know if you know him on Twitter. So he's got quite a big following. He's in a very big chat room, and it seems like a really nice guy, to be honest. I've spoken to him a few times, and Trade Zero called him out for paper trading.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, and this guy's one of the most legit people. And again, this is still open to discussion, this one, because, and I won't do a video on him because I actually asked Sonny and he did respond a bit. But so basically what happened is Trade Zero, they had a big problem a couple of weeks ago. And, he lost money in a position. The whole pro platform broke down, basically. That's that. In layman's terms, that's what happened. Shit happens. It's happened to me at IB. It's happened to me at other brokers. It'll always happen, We live in an internet world. Shit's going to happen, right? But anyway, so he lost money, and then he went on Twitter saying, everyone stay away from Trade Zero, blah, 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 blah. Then it happened again. And then, but he said he was leaving, and he didn't. He stayed. And then it happened again. So in my opinion, burn me once, fine. Burn me twice, you're a fucking idiot. So that happens. But then Trade Zero, so he posted on Twitter, then Trade Zero commented on it and said, we are not aware that Travel Trader, or AKA Sonny, has an account of us. We believe he could be paper trading, right? On Twitter, their official Twitter. And it's still there. It's still not deleted. So, and this kid has a few thousand followers, he's quite, and his trading style is fucking brilliant, by the way. Like, his reviews are really good. His YouTube content's brilliant. Check him out. There's still good lessons there. So then he comes out and says, I retract that statement, blah, 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 blah. Deleted the tweet, I think, and said, P.S. I'm a paper trader, in like a sarcastic way. And then, did a 3-part comment saying he's going to prove his innocence, right? But that was 3 weeks ago. And there's nothing since.
Okay.
So you then got to weigh up the decision. Well, how hard is it just to put, look, there's my statement. Like, it's,
sure, yeah.
You know what I mean? and this is the thing. And, if he come out and said, yeah, look, I was paper trading, because he travels he's on a budget, he's homing in his game. If he said that, he said, I've got a paper trading account and a real account, but do you know what I mean? But, and again, I'm not saying he is, because I'm still hoping, I really am hoping for Sonny that he wasn't paper trading, because there's still a bit of hope there. But the longer it goes on, man, the less likely it looks real. So
Yeah, unfortunately, this happens in the environment we're in. You do get a lot of that behavior, like you said, and I didn't know a lot of that stuff what you're talking about. So that's actually it's very interesting.
this is why you
But
need
you
Twitter.
yeah, I don't have Twitter now. I'm not really up on those things like. But I suppose I'll have to start getting into these
Yeah.
a little bit more. I find they kind of distract me from my trading, and I let judgments come into my trades a little bit more. Then,
Yeah, it
uh,
does me. I mean, I don't really check it for. I mean, I check it in the morning if something's gapping up on pre-market and there's no news. I'll check Twitter just to see if there is, because Twitter's usually quicker for news. Um, but other than that, I'm just there to see, you know, just basically random. I mean, check out our Twitter, LWT Trading. It's more just fucking with people, to be honest.
okay, okay.
Uh,
But look, it's cool that you're open with it and you're telling it is what it is. You're not trying to paint a picture over it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
exactly. I mean, again, it comes down to our chat room. It's not for everyone. If you come in our chat room, I mean, if you take a bad trade where no one's going to jump on your back and call you an idiot, like that's one thing we're against. But if you come in our chat and expect we'll give you about a week leeway, but after that we'll start joking with you, and and you're more than welcome to do it with us. We've got a guy, Audrius, and he was our trader a month, 2 months ago, and he basically gets abused on a daily basis from me now. Because he's getting better every day. But he gives me shit, I give him shit, and it's that's the environment we're in. It's
I think as well, kind of coming from Ireland and yourself from the UK, we're kind of brought up like that, is in terms of slagging, making fun of each other as a joke.
Yeah.
That's kind of just the culture it's in, especially over here. Like you'd sit in a bar and you just slag your friends, and that's the way you communicate. And when I moved to Canada a few years ago, I lived there for nearly 2 years. Um, the Canadian people, when we started hanging around with them first, kind of took that as a bit of a shock. But then as time goes on, they kind of got to know, okay, this is
Yeah,
obviously
we've
a
got
thing they do.
we've got a few talking Canadians in the room. Jordan, one of our moderators, he's mainly a short seller, and we call him the SEC god because he's the best at reading finds. Um, he's from Canada. We've got a few others. Anthony's from Canada, and Jacob as well. And you know, we've got people from all over walks of life, and we've had people come in the chat room, and look, if it doesn't work, like we'll just refund it. That's fine. It's not for everyone, but everyone in there, from no matter where you are, yeah, expect to have a bit of fun.
Sure.
And sometimes really good and sometimes really bad jokes on both ends of the scale. But yeah, that's what it's about. We want a fun environment. The whole idea of the chat room was just have different views on different styles of trading, not just one person who's just going to say, I'm in this stock and it goes up 500%, Um, and the other thing was, more importantly, is to make the time fun. I mean, if we go back to the summer when earnings season was on, and the summer, it was, how dead was it in the summer volume? But because there's 10 people in our chat every day, just having a bit of fun, having a bit of crack, not crack cocaine to Americans, like crack, joking and fun. We've had that issue, and yeah, and it sort of keeps you in the market, and you don't misplace because of that. Because there was days and some I was like, you know what, I'm not going to turn up today. I can't be bothered. But because the chat room's there, I was like, you know what, I'll turn up, and lo and behold, there was one or two plays, and I made a bit of money. So that's one of the good things of a chat room, and I think one of the about learning, that's one of the pros. Coming back to the original question, which we spun off on.
No worries. Kind of as well, Roscoe. What advice for anybody that's a beginner that's watching this interview? What advice would you have for beginner traders?
Buy Tim Sykes DVD. What advice? Look, track your data. Quite frankly, track your plays. Find an edge. I mean,
so you're saying track your trades, what you did right or wrong. Was it a pattern? Was it this and that? And then read back over it at the end of the week, maybe, or the end of the day.
I do mine every day. And it's not. I'm a big believer there's the three edges. Against yourself, the others, and then the market. And the edge on the market is quite simply finding a pattern. And you can buy everyone's DVD in the world. You can buy everyone's chat room. And they're all going to tell you their styles, their patterns. That's not going to suit you. And what I found is, I was tracking stuff that was gapping up 20%. It had less than 12 million flow. It had a certain percentage of volume. And then where was it at, 9 a.m., 9:30, 10, all the way up till 12. And then how did it finish on the day? And then from that, I found an edge with certain sectors, like biotechs tend to fall like, like 80% more than, telecoms, for example, or something like that. But if biotech's running and the sector's running, for example, or the shippers are running or something like that, then it's all about finding these little edges. And then I was like, right, you know what? Well, why don't you short this? Then I found a few people who trade a gap and crap, which is pretty much that strategy. So then it was finding that style. So that's one thing you need to track. And you know what? You might not even find a pattern, and then you just need to refine that criteria and keep tracking. And once you've done that for 2 months, you'll find a little edge somewhere.
And I suppose it kind of brings us into the next question you said, like, about education. How important is education in your opinion?
If you track, I don't think it's that important.
You don't?
Well, I think a lot of people put this money on, look, right? And I genuinely mean this. I'm not, we charge $40 a month for our chat room, and you get everyone on mic who will genuinely help you because they want you to become profitable, because then you'll find plays for us, right? That is not, I don't class that as education. I class that as a community helping each other, right?
Yes.
Someone's saying you're going to have to buy a DVD for $6,000, and I'll give you, literally, in my opinion, if you're running a marathon, it's the first 5 steps, right? That's the way I see it. I've done Sykes's DVDs. I've even watched Warrior Trading's DVDs, and I've done a few of the DVDs, right, along the circuit. Stephen Ducks, everyone, and Grattani's DVD. Now, Tim Grattani's DVD, Trading Tickets, I don't know if you've seen it. That's what made it all click for me. So if you get a chance to get that one, that, in my opinion, is okay. But going back to it, I think all that content is still on YouTube, right? The thing is, everyone wants to learn a pattern. Everyone wants to learn, like, I'll find this pattern and I'll just trade this pattern. Trading doesn't work like that, because you need 4 or 5 patterns. You need this, because, you can trade a gap and crap if that's your style, for example, and, you're done by 9 o'clock, 9:30, 10. What are you going to do for the rest of the day? Especially if you're stateside or in Canada, you're going to lose money. That's all you're going to do is lose money. So then you need another stat sheet. And to me, that comes from tracking data. If you start tracking your data and analyzing it and spending the 10 hours a day you'd watch that DVD, defining your data and finding an edge, after 2 months, you'll find a much stronger lesson. And if you want to learn about PDT, you want to learn about SEC fans, all that shit's on YouTube. It's free, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, look, don't get me wrong. I believe you can get, to an extent, maybe 80% of it on YouTube, all right? But that's if you're kind of... I tried it. So when I started, I tried to do it the YouTube way. I thought I knew everything. I didn't. So then I had to educate myself, which I should have done initially at the start. If you have hours upon hours and hours going through YouTube, watching a video, and maybe getting the answer at the end, well, then YouTube's your thing. I think if you're in a hurry, or you're stuck for time and you want the answer straight away, I think it is important, education, and I've said that from the start of the channel, and I will continue to say it is super important.
No, I'm not saying education is wrong. Just sorry to interrupt, but I'm not saying it's wrong.
No, I understand. I understand.
What they call education in, the penny stock world, if you like, is fucking horseshit.
Yeah, no, I understand exactly where you're coming from, and I think a lot of people will say that on a lot of the reviews I do, like, oh, you can get it on YouTube. You're not wrong in saying that.
Yeah, but on YouTube as well, there's also a lot of shit, right?
That's what I'm saying. It's cluttered, it's diluted, it's not organic and real information. You see, people think that when someone releases a course, or their gimmicks or their cons, or you can get this information. If you genuinely, there's probably some people out there doing that, don't get me wrong, but look at it this way. People are going to create content, and hopefully you enjoy it and learn something from it. You're going to help them become successful, and they're hopefully going to help you become successful, and that will help them grow. So anybody creating kind of content like that, you would hope to think that it is in a genuine way, that they're genuinely trying to help you. Now, there is some people that's out there that's full of shit. Personally, I'm grateful for every course I did. I've learned a lot from every course I've done. I've done a lot of courses, and I've took pieces of each course and eventually came to say, okay, well, I've done that course, that taught me a lot. Although I don't use that style anymore, I was grateful, beneficial, and I've taken some things on board. But But as well, a lot of people say like, what's the course that will change it for you? I don't think there's any course that will
Completely agree.
that will make you be successful. I don't think it's do this course and that's it. For some people it is. For other people it's not.
Yeah.
Like a course, if you're struggling, a course will help you. But at the end of the day, it's down to that person and the mindset. That's what's going to kill you. You can have all the education in the world, but if
Completely agree. And I mean, for me, it's like, you know, I go back and look at it, right? And it's like, we've got people in our chat room who tell me, you know, we've got people from Warrior Trading, Sykes, you know, all sorts of places. And, you know, they tell me how much they paid. And I'm just like, Jesus Christ, you know, Tim Sykes is you know, chat room's like $6,000 for the premium one a year, you know, then it's that's what you should be opening an account with maximum at the start, never mind a course or just a chat room. Then you've got the DVDs of DVDs, you know, and it's just overcharged horseshit with 5% content is my point. And I agree that the more, you know, you should always learn. And the reason, you know, I just said, look, I've watched Warrior Trade and stuff. And the reason I've watched that is because we've got a trade. I'm not going to say anything on that, but we've got a trade set up similar to what he does, but it's a little, well, it is very, very different. But I had to get in his mindset. So we got the course. We paid for the course as a room. And I've learned a lot from that about his style, which
his style,
which I'll never use because I completely am against it, the way he trades. But we were going in it from a short mentality. So now I've understood the way it works. And I still don't think he trades the style he teaches. I still don't think Sykes trades the style he teaches because the market's changed so much, right? And I'm saying is develop your own edge, then keep learning. You know, education is super important. It's one of the most important things. But again, by buying a Sykes DVD or buying anyone's fucking DVD for however many thousands, it's not going to change your life. And I think there's a lot of people, you know, this really irritates me is when I go on, you know, Twitter, and this is one of the reasons probably why I'm not there is, and you see that, you know, made $50 a day, thanks, tag Tim Sykes, thanks, tag whoever, you know, and I'm like, dude, why were you in this trade? Because I've looked at the price you got in. Why were you this? Why were you that? And I'm just, it winds up. Why are you tagging in Tim Sykes? Like, you paid him fucking $2,000 for the DVD and you went $50. Like, are you fucking retarded? You know? And I'm just like, you know, and by the way, the trade you took is not even in the DVD you bought. So, and this is one of the things that, you know, I'm not bashing Sykes because he got me into the game. I've watched his DVD. It did teach me one or two things in the How to Make Millions DVD. Tim Grattani's proper sealed that off though, because that was the second one I watched and completely wiped the flow of it. Made a lot more things click and it's more bearable because it doesn't rant on as much. And then from there, I started doing my own stuff completely because in the Tim Grattani DVD it says like track your own data. So that's what I went and did, and that's probably why I got it.
Yeah, like I kind of try and I advise. Like sometimes I should listen to my own advice, and I think everybody's a critique of that. I try my best to track the data, and it's like there's some days you miss it, and you're like, oh fuck, and it's hard to go back on it. But I think it's easy to give, and the courses are great because they give you a blueprint, and that's what you technically, if that style suits you, that's what you should be doing in a blueprint, and then it's the rest of it you have to master. But look, I'm a, like you said, I'm a fan of education. Now kind of while we're in the education bit, like if you're a technical trader, how important is candle patterns to you in terms of not chart patterns, candle patterns?
Very, very important. So for me, it's like I've got what 2, 4, 5 screens, and you know when I see a pattern, so I set a lot of alerts in the morning, right? And then if this sets up or this price breaks, then it'll go onto my. But level 2 wise, I've got one. I don't even see this screen. I've got a vertical one of these, which is just pure time and sales. And then on here, I've got, you know, a 42-inch TV, which is just, you know, 2 level 2s, time and sales, and then 2 charts. So if it makes it from this screen that we're currently on, which is, you know, and the one above it, which is basically 16 charts, if it makes it from there to there, then I'm going to be trading it. That's the way it is, you know. But for me, it's got to be clean. There will be other stuff that makes it on there, you know, if I'm watching level 2, see how stuff's trading. But I'd probably say I take all my trades on level 2, to be honest. But it's got to be, but the charts and the candlesticks themselves, because I'm an inflection point trader, it has to be super clean. But from that super clean, I know the level I'm getting in. So, for example, if it's the open price on IGC, for example, as a ticker is $8, and I want it, $8.15, let's say, rather than $8. If it's at $8.15, that was the open price, and it's coming down, it's putting in a little groove upwards, and I like it over that price, then I can just go straight level 2. And when I see that 18.15 break, I'm in. That's it. So,
but kind of when you're in a trade, I suppose, when you're in a trade, are you looking at candle patterns when to get out, and maybe when to get in? Are you reading off the patterns, the shapes, and things like that?
no. If I'm on, and do you know what the thing is? I should, and it's something that was sort of on my a goals list. Let's say goals list. That's probably, I was gonna say to-do list, but was to try and hold my winners longer. And everyone else in chat actually takes the piss out of me because I take my wins way quicker than letting stuff run, right? And it's my win rate's good. That's it, and I'm happy with that. But I'm really trying to hold on to that last third for break even, but I physically just can't fucking do it, man. I physically can't. And then there's a lot of things like what happens is after the breakout, it comes back and then bounces on the breakout. But usually by then I'm out anyway. And that comes back, and I know this. My data tells me this. Everything fucking tells me this. But coming back to emotions is, I'm like, boom, I'm in, I'm out, happy days. My 5%'s in the bank, job done. So it's, and you know what the thing, like coming back to IGC, I think in that same day it went to 6. So I got it at 2. It went to 6, and I took it out at 221, I think it was. So that's my style. But the thing is, it suits me and it works. And there's 2 or 3 of them every fucking day. So
yeah.
But coming back to Jack in the room, or Compton or Jordan, they'll look at a part on the chart and they'll say, all right, look, well, at this level, it's going to see some resistance. So I'll take some off into this push before it gets to that. And then if it breaks through that, it's the next catalyst and stuff like that. So if that's what you're getting at, yeah, I don't, but I should.
Yeah, it's because that was one of the things that was kind of struck me when I was obviously trading and I was kind of losing money, and you think you know everything and you don't. And at this stage, I still don't know everything, and I never will know everything.
No one ever will.
It's something that it's an ongoing thing, and but when I thought I knew candle patterns, I didn't. So I was entering and exit trades based off the wrong candle shapes and patterns, and then I was getting out of them too early or into them too late, so stuff like that. And so I kind of said, like, well, what's the issue here? So I had to go back to drawing board and study candles, and it took me a long time to kind of study them. And then I said, okay, now it improved my strategy a lot in terms of enter and exit trades, and I was seeing patterns forming that I wouldn't take a trade off. So that's kind of why then I created the Japanese candle course that's solely just Japanese candles.
Okay.
But a lot of people say to me when they're starting off, oh, do I need this? And honestly, if you don't have any knowledge in the market, it's not the course for you. So I'm out straight with people saying, look, this isn't the course for you. This is only course for you if you have an understanding of the market, but you're not good at candle patterns. Then it's the course for you because it's solely just candle patterns. But that's helped me massively. I believe that candle patterns is super important. And like that, I'm in and out of trades quickly as well. And that's one of my flaws, is sometimes I'm in and out too fast. But sometimes then when you're reading off the pattern, it's like, oh, shooting star or morning star, you're like, shit, get out. So things like that will help you. I just kind of want to see your view on it.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, it's, one of the biggest things, coming from the wealth management side, look, it's, for me, if you look at, everyone sees George Soros and, Warren Buffett and all these other traders as just, look, they're billionaires. They're all the same, right? They're not. They're completely different styles. And from that, you've got to look at, there's a million ways to get to $1 billion. It's that simple. And it's, for me, Japanese candles, it's not something I've really looked into that much. And if it works for you, like, fucking great. And I'm not saying it does. It's the same, like I said, with paper trading.
Exactly. I think
it's for me, but I know people it worked for, and it's what I would say is, death by 1,000 cuts. It'll take, you probably survive the 999s, but the 1,000 won't get you. And take as many as you need to, and try every fucking thing at the beginning, and then find something that you stick with. And and again, I think that, you know, and again, going back to our community in the chat room, it's all about, we've got people from all over walks that have different styles, and that's one of the reasons why I love what we do, is the fact that there's never one. If I say, look, at this level, I love it, there's someone in the chat room who likes it short. Always
Yeah, yeah, no.
over the mic saying, I love it short if this happens. And I'm like, all right, let me look at that. So I look at that and I'm like, do you know what? Yeah, I'll probably
Yeah.
go 1/3 size in this trade. And do you know what? And then at the end of it, I'm like, you owe me a fucking beer. Because I should have went full size, you know, or vice versa. I'm saying I owe you a beer because you were right, you know. And this is one
Yeah.
of the things, and everyone learns different strategies, different styles, different things, and different setups. And you know, Jack, coming back to all right, he's a trend line trader, right? And he massively trades, and he is honestly, when I first met Jack, which was literally about November, December last year, I thought this guy's fucking useless, and he knows this, so I'm happy to say it. I didn't really like the kid as well. I thought he was an arrogant little shit, but honestly, he's a young kid, but he fucking knows what he's doing. The downside with Jack is sometimes he holds on to losers way too long, right? But that's what trend line trading is. So I've saw, like, you know, when he's in a trade and he's reading it for 3 days, and I'm like, dude, what the fuck? And he's like, I'm gonna add, you know, and I'm like, what? I just can't, you know, what the fuck? And then eventually it goes green massively, and he's like, yes, he told you. And it's so I not that I haven't stopped doubting him, but it's all about realizing that, like, you know, if it works for him, brilliant. But I know I can't fucking swing trade. I know if my mentally, I can't go to bed knowing I've got to trade. Even if I'm green and it's got to come down fucking 20, 30, 40%, I can't.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
this is where it comes into kind of the personalities of
Exactly.
what personality are you to trade.
But it comes down to education as well, because, you know, like,
Yeah.
some people I know have learned from Tim Sykes that I physically met. I can't stand the fucking bloke. Do you know what I mean? Because he rambles on about shit and shows a picture of a rented Lamborghini. So I can't physically learn anymore from that, because I'm just looking at it and thinking, mate, like, congratulations, you've earned a lot of money. Great. You probably have done a lot of money in trading, but right now I'm way past where I need you to be. You know, you were my introduction. You know, I'm now on a dessert. And that's the thing. And I think everyone needs to realize that. And it comes down to, as well, as the chat rooms and all that stuff, including ours, by the way. And you know, we've got people genuinely who've messaged us and been in the chat room for about 4 or 5 months and said, the chat room's now a distraction to me. I've got to go. And you know, I'm actually more proud of that than I am of, you know, someone staying in the chat room, because they've developed, they've gone, you know what I mean? And it's one of them things, and that's why we have a lifetime membership option. So, but for me, the education and the personality it's very person oriented. So find someone. I mean, everyone's got, you know, who's got courses usually has stuff on YouTube, right? So find someone who you can relate to as a person on YouTube first, and you think, you know what,
Yeah.
this guy actually, I can understand it. You know, I keep getting adverts of fucking people sat in cafes saying, you know, I'm killing it in the market right now. I'm killing it in the market. I'm up nearly 200%. And I'm like, dude, like, there's tickers that have run, you know, 1,000% in 3 days. That's not killing it, you know? Like, especially if you're telling people to trade low float stocks. There's guys, you know, oh, but it's okay. I'm in a cheap hotel room and I've got $10,000. Like, dude, $10,000 isn't great, fantastic, but you know, if you're selling a course for $6,000,
Yeah, yeah.
like, give me $1 million pile and I'll might listen. But either way, I'm gonna call you a dickhead.
But I think it's a good point. Like, courses will benefit certain people in different characteristics, and they'll also play a role, like you said, in a stepping stone. You're always going to learn something from a course, and that's why I'm always grateful for every course I've done. They've taught me something that I will always be grateful and won't forget. Like, even with, like yourself with Tim Sykes, he was involved in your journey, regardless that he's not now. But it was
And
it was
I'll
a
always
good
say,
stepping
you know,
stone.
people always ask me, like, you know, Tim Sykes was saying, and like, my personal opinion on the guy is quite a funny one, but I'll always say thank you, because he's
Yeah,
right.
I think it's important. I do think it's
And I'll
important.
always say thank you. But as a person, I think the guy's a fucking dick.
Mm.
Put it frankly. And you know, and I can back that up. But for me, it's like, you know, if someone bashes me on Twitter for Slate and Sykes, for example, I'm cool with that. Honestly, I'm cool with that, and I genuinely wish that person success with Sykes. I genuinely do, and it's not that,
Me too.
you know, and it's I love nothing better than being proved wrong by honesty, you know, and it's stuff like that. But then when you get people like defending someone and they've been their course for like 3 days, it's, you know, it comes back to promotion by deep fraud, you know. If you know,
It kind of brings us nice into the next question, actually, just as you're talking about that. What do you think of people promoting these get-rich-quick schemes in the stock market?
there is no such thing, mate.
I don't believe so.
In my opinion, look, you know, you do get. I'm sure you've heard of Stephen Ducks. You do get these people, you know, who've made mega amounts of money in mega time. But you know, Stephen Ducks had like 60,000 XLs or something. We've got a guy in our chat room who's actually quite good friends with him. And you're going to get these anomalies. But I think we live, coming back to, I think we live in a world where everyone thinks they sort of, you know, they see someone on YouTube and they think that, you know, well, if he can do it, I can do it, you know. But they don't want to put that effort in. They don't want to have 60,000 Excel sheets, you know.
Yeah, it's kind of like
And,
everybody wants to go to heaven, but no one's willing to die. This type of thing.
yeah, well, you know, I don't want to say anything. I know Ireland's quite religious. I'm an atheist, so I'm not going to say anything on that, right?
I tell you, I'll use a different one. Everybody wants to eat, but no one wants to hunt.
Fair enough. But yeah, you know, both are very relevant, and I think that, you know, we live in a world where everyone's like, well, look, if he can do it, I can do it, and why shouldn't it work for me? And quite frankly, trading isn't built for everyone, and there's no harm in not necessarily quitting, but just taking a step back, regrouping, and coming back. And I think it will make you a better. If you look at the people who I really like are people like Tim Brittani, all right. And he said he learned from Sykes and Investors Underground. And although he's a Sykes student, he did learn from other places. He says it in his DVD. And my thing on him is he's very humble, he's very honest, and that's why I liked him, because it's just, there's no bullshit. Here's what I do. And you know, I don't trade anything close to like his style. It's just I could relate to the content because I like the guy. And you know, it comes down to but I wouldn't say he overly promotes his DVD either, you know, and that's one of the other reasons I like him. But if you've got these guys who are like, you know, think about how many times, like Jason Bond. I'm sure you've seen Jason Bond.
Do you know what? I actually, an ad popped up last week, and I went into his webinar on Sunday, and I lasted about 20 minutes. I said, fuck this.
I don't know.
It was the worst thing I've done, because I've just been getting emails from this guy, and I never knew him before this. It just came up as an ad. He'd remind you of another kind of Tim Sykes.
Yeah,
He keeps repeating
I'd heard
millionaire.
on Twitter about maybe August, and then now every fucking YouTube advert, man, is just, hi, I'm killing it in the market, and he stood on a beach or he sat in a bar, and it's nearly as bad as Sykes' advert. And you know what the thing is I'm just, there's really bad market in there, right? Because I don't say I got an advertisement for a chat room or a trading service until probably about July. So there's a good 7 months there where I needed, you know, if I'd have got that advert earlier, I might have clicked it, right? Do you know what I mean? And I didn't. I got it when I'm already like, fuck these guys. You know?
Yeah.
So there's bad advertising there for a start, in my opinion. And then coming back to it is, do you need it? No, do you fuck? Do your research. You've got Google. That's all I'll say. Google it. Google what you want to be. Find someone. Find 7 or 8. And don't go for the cheapest. Don't go for the most expensive. Go for the one that suits your needs that you can afford. And that's all I'll say. But you know, you get people sign up for a year membership. You know, I remember I was getting contacted on my phone from Sykes's people trying to join his like fucking $6,000 course, and they're like, oh, you can join. He's going to be there every day, and he's going to be this, he's going to be that, and you know. And we've got people in our chat room who still have that 1 year membership, and they're telling us every single day who's there, who's not. And let me tell you, Sykes isn't there every day.
Yeah, that happens. That definitely does happen. I think.
But if I paid $6,000 and someone's told me it's every day, mate, you know what I mean? If I buy a
I understand. I understand completely.
And it's fucking Fanta, I'm upset, you know. And this is where it's at, I think, and it comes down to these adverts. And look, coming back to, if anyone can get rich quick, no, you can't. It's dead simple. Go to the casino, put all your money on red, and keep going red until you lose. You can steadily grow your account. But just come back to it. There's nothing wrong with making $50 a day. There's nothing wrong.
Yeah, no, I think, look, there's nothing wrong with taking a loss if you learn from it. The way I look at it is, you pay over in the States fucking hundreds of thousands of dollars to go to college in some cases, and you come out with a bit of paper and you learn probably fuck all. So the way I look at it is, if I take a loss, especially starting out, and there's a reason for the loss and I learn from it, well, that's just me paying back to the education system as an exchange of information that I paid for. So losses are really acceptable, but only when you understand why you took a loss. If you just took a loss, you don't know why, well, that's a waste. So it is very important to understand why you're taking the losses.
No, I agree completely, and I think that there's two, and this is an issue as well. And I've just give Dux a bit of praise, but I'm going to call him also a dick here, because if you're posting that you just made 70 grand on a trade, and by the way, well done for making that money, by the way, but I don't think they realize how much FOMO they're giving to new people. I really don't think they realize it. And
yeah, it's dangerous. It is dangerous. Like, I'm actually in a chat room. It's the Cameron Foos chat room as well.
I've heard good things.
Yeah, look, this course is really good. It goes into a lot of detail. There's a lot of different sections. I'm really glad he piled it together as one pro package, so you get it as a whole instead of getting it separately.
And I think that's a good thing as well. That's one of the things I did like about him, to be honest.
And it's for what you get. There's an awful lot of value in that. But in his chat room, himself and Mike, this fella guy Mike, run the chat room. Incredible trader, but one of the guys, he's actually a moderator, put up that, oh, I made 5 grand, I'm done for the day. And then the guy Mike calls him out and says, well, prove it. Like, we don't just call out shit like that in the chat room. It doesn't help anyone, which he's dead right. He was like, we don't care about your share size. We don't want to see your profit and loss. Just put up a picture of the chart that has your indicators that you entered and eggs. You know them little arrows?
Yeah.
So to give people back education, because all you're doing is making people feel shit. And I 100% agree, because say if I took that trade, I might have made a couple $100 off it. He's had to make 5 grand. I'm like, fuck, I sold too early, or whatever the case is. And he's like, gives people something to learn off, instead of, no one learns from, oh, I made 20 grand.
Yeah.
Well, give us a bit of value in of how did you earn 20 grand? What did you do? So someone learns from it. So I think that's a good point, and that's what I like about the one of the chat rooms as well. The Foos one is that it's like, it's no bullshit. Like, it is what it is, and if you're not going to help people learn, then kind of jog on type of attitude.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that's one of the things. And again, we've been asked. We do a monthly webinar on various subjects that we just think, and it's free, completely free. Not even to members, just it's free. We post on Twitter. You just click the link and sign up. And for me, it's we get a lot of people saying, "Oh, will you do a course or will you do this?" And we do a lot of one-on-ones for free, like in the chat room. And it's more about what the long-term goal is with LWT is. I want 7 or 8 traders who are all proven successful, but more importantly, different styles on the mic. And I want to learn from them, if that makes sense. And I want them to be saying, look, if this sets up later on today, it's going to be a good trade, because that's going to make me money.
Yeah, and I think then not only that, they're giving you the tools to spot it as well. So they're saying, here's a pattern, look at it. Next time you'll spot it on your own. So exactly. I like that. They're giving you the tools to fish as well. They're not just giving you the answers.
Exactly. And we want, people to, if this sets up, or this, and this, and then, we've got a chart section where, all the charts are in there. And I think Jack posted a few yesterday. Oh, Jesus. I'm going to look like an idiot now, aren't I?
Oh, no, you're good. You're good.
There you go. They have uploaded. There you go. But yeah, so we got all these. These are all just from pretty much 2 days, and it's all about what we want different style traders showing different ideas. But more importantly, we realize that we've got people who are not on the mic in the chat room, and they're like, oh, I like this long, you know, because Roscoe said it's good trade. So, and we found out very quickly that there's people who sign up and they're like, oh yeah, I'm in it as well. And I'm like, you know, what price? I've told you I'm an inflection trader, so I like something at a certain price, yeah. And they're in 10 cents above me, you know, and I'm like, this is not what it's about, right? This is chasing formal. We don't want to be that chat room. Da, 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 da. So this is then when we went back and we said, well, on the mic, we want different style traders. So if I said I like it at this price, there's someone in the chat room equally on the mic saying, I don't like it.
Yeah, I get it. I get it.
Then it makes the person who's just listening in think, shit, I've got to make my own mind up here. You know what I mean?
No, 100%, 100%.
That's what it's about.
And kind of like explain to me the kind of the day in the life of yourself, Roscoe. Like, what do you do to get ready in the morning?
Well, you know, I'm a nudist. I'm actually only wearing this shirt right now. No, so you know, we're on European time, so market opens at 3:30 p.m. here, and yeah, so usually, you know, I wake up like 6 o'clock, come downstairs, 6 a.m., start. You know, I check my work emails first from my job, see if there's anything I need to do. If there is, usually I do it the next day anyway. And then, you know, I get, you know, I love my cups of tea. If you ever are in chat, you'll see that. It's tea or beer. It's, you know, it's two extremes. And yeah, and you know, and then from, I'd say 7 o'clock, I'm on my second tee and I start putting in my data till about 8:30. Then respond to YouTube and Twitter and the chat if anything's happened overnight. Then I start building my watch list, and then I'll go to the gym or whatever. And then basically from 12 o'clock, I'm sat here. I'm running a bit late here already, but it's fine. It's 12:22 now. So market opens in like 3 hours, 8 minutes, and we will be live in the chat on the mic in the next half an hour.
Okay, Pearl, I won't keep you. We only have a...
No. They understand. There's another Zoom link getting posted from Jordan, so all good. But yeah, that's what we do. We like to get everyone on pre-market early, so it gives everyone.
Nice.
You know, we've got a philosophy that if someone's got a question, then they can ask it, and if it's that important, they can get up early enough to fucking ask it. So.
And kind of, we're going into kind of a little bit more about yourself now, because we talked a lot about trading. So, to go into a little bit more about yourself, a lot of people kind of think that trading is this luxury lifestyle, and to some it is. And that's as well what kind of drew me into the lifestyle as well, even though for the wrong reasons it shouldn't. But I was drawn into that as well. I kind of
everyone
sometimes
wants
I like the flashy aspect of it.
Everyone wants a Lamborghini.
Yeah, but again, it's kind of just a question like that you're in the business. Do you have any kind of exotic purchases or anything like that?
Exotic purchases. Well, you know, it from trading, probably no.
No?
I've actually only took 2 out of my account twice on my trading career.
Okay.
So no. But again, I don't use. You know, I don't trade with big size. Like, you know, if you're looking at me expecting me to make 20 grand, that's not true. I think last month I made just under 2 grand, so it's not like I'm going for home runs here. Far from it. My record month was, I think, 9 grand. So
that's huge.
Yeah, no. Granted, it is, you know, but I'm never going to buy a Lamborghini with that money. Is my point, and I never will. I always say this in chat, and there's, you know, people like Jack can size into stuff, but because of my style, I can't buy 10,000 shares at a price because 10,000 shares, and it's not my style, quite frankly. But I am lucky enough that my other businesses are quite successful. So yeah, we you know, we have a good luxury holiday every year. You know, last year we were in the Maldives for 3 weeks. I got married last year as well, so that was very cheap.
Congratulations.
Bought a house last year with cash.
There you go.
So yeah, so this year we're sort of recouping a little bit. If you're asking about my car, I drive a Jaguar, which medium luxury, I guess. And we're currently in my cinema room. So.
Oh, well, there you go. Perfect. I like it.
That whole wall's a screen, believe it or not. So.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And kind of just your life goals, Roscoe. Like, where do you see yourself in the next few years?
Right. Well, where do I see myself? You know, it's quite weird because if you asked me this 10 years ago, I'd have probably said, I want to be, 5 years ago, I started my own business for the first time. So I'd have probably said, I want to have, X amount of employees, X amount of whatever. And that would have been a big factor. And then what happened is I realized I don't really like micromanaging people. I just have a physical thing trusting them. That's the biggest issue. And not that they're not trustworthy or anything like that. I don't even see the screen it's building there. But yeah, it was more along the lines of if I'm wealth managing, I like to be hands on. And if someone else picks a different investment to me, I can't physically, because that's going to affect my business. So
Yeah.
So then what I did is I went a different route and I sort of just downscaled and kept a set number of clients and, did very well with that. And so now I have a lot of small amount, but very high net worth clients. So going forward with trading, which is probably the thing, I'd like to build the LWT community a little bit. But we do have a cap on the chat room. It's already been fixed to 100 people per day on the mic. And that's a restriction by Zoom. Actually, we can't pay for more, but I don't think we ever want to. And the reason for that is we never want to be, a pump promoter. But I'd say that's my goal. Long term, I want to do a conference.
Okay.
I seen there's a traders conference in the US, and I want to do a European traders conference.
Sure, I get you.
There isn't one, right? And yeah, I'd love to do something like that. But I'm really into working with other chat rooms. I don't know if you know Day Trader Wayne and Great Stock Picks. They run a chat room, not dissimilar to ours, to be honest. We've done a lot of, well, not a lot, but a bit of work together and more to come. And I'm not into this, whole Ross Cameron versus Sykes. I'll call it as I see it, but I am really open to collaboration. And I think the more people collaborate, it bends a lot of trust with new traders, and that's the thing. And I always got told by Sykes and by these guys that these low cap stocks, they're all shit companies, they're all traded, they're all manipulated, they're all this. But the thing is, for me, the reason they are manipulated is because there's so many amateur traders, right? And if there wasn't that many amateur traders and all these traders were even better, better at trading, then it wouldn't be as bad. So long term, yeah, I'd like to clean up the industry a little bit and get some better traders in there.
Nice. Look, Ross, I like your goals. I like your drive. I really appreciate you taking the interview. This is Roscoe with LWT Trading. I'm going to put his link in the description if you were looking to join a chat room. That's the owner and operator of LWT Trades. Roscoe, I really appreciate your time. I enjoyed this interview. It's a new series we're starting on the channel. We're going to be interviewing top stock YouTubers as well. So Roscoe, thanks a lot for taking the time for the interview. As well, guys, I hope you all did enjoy the video. Don't forget to click like and subscribe. And if anyone out there is a beginner in trading, I have prepared a full A to Z module of how to get started in the stock market. It is free. It's in the link below. I hope you all enjoy. Roscoe, look, thanks a million for your time. I don't want to keep you any longer. You're a busy man.
Always.
And we'll touch base soon.
Yeah, I hope so, mate.